Hello everybody and welcome to another top 5 records video, but it's a very sad one because earlier today I read the news about Mick Rock passing, and although on this channel I usually just talk about music, I think it would be foolish not to give a little bit of attention to the part that Mick Rock played in rock history. He was the kind of photographer who was always around in documentaries and who had this very strong analysis of music and of what was going on. And he did something very beautiful and magical. He saw movements in music and he knew how to translate them into pictures. Now, that sounds so easy because we already have all these pictures in mind, and we saw all these pictures, and it just looks like these pictures are just coincidentally what happened back then. But it's not just that. Mick Rock listened, he saw people, and he thought of images which could capture that moment in time, that sound, that feeling, and that personality. And that is quite an extraordinary gift, and he made the images of album covers which are on our walls. He made pictures at rock shows, like the Ziggy Stardust guitar eating picture, guitar eating picture. I mean, these are iconic images, and it's not just coincidence. You have to have a special eye for that. And with that, he created a very important part of rock history. And that's why today I'm not going to talk about the music. I'm going to talk about the 5 best album covers by Mick Rock. And I'm going to start off with an oddity in the list. On number 5, it's the cover of Deuce by Rory Gallagher. Rory Gallagher is one of the most underestimated blues musicians, I believe, from the United Kingdom. And this cover says so much about his personality. I mean, it's a studio picture. But if you look in these eyes, you see there is not a sense of ego, of wanting to be famous, of wanting to stand on a stage. It's an ecstatic image of a man and his guitar. It's the moment, I mean, this was a single snapshot moment. It is so incredibly good. And it says so much about the music. Rory Gallagher's records are so full of pure passion. There is no posing. This is a documentary-like moment, and Mick Rock captured it, and it got the sense of the music. That is so incredibly well done. Let's go to the number 4. The number 4 is by Cockney Rebel, or Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel, the Psycho Mode. And I try to keep the flair out of the cover. This is one of my favorite 70s records. And there is something magical about the music of Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel. There is also something very naked on this record. And hence the element of the naked people and all the hands touching. It's something you see more often in his pictures. I have this picture of Freddie Mercury made by Mick Rock, or I've seen it, in which you have some nudity, but there appear hands which are not from people within the picture. So it's like, what's going on? Is he suggesting orgies? He's very much suggesting a certain sexual undertone, and that's also interesting that he suggests a sexual undertone while the title, the Psycho Mode, is here. I mean, of Psychomodo, and by the way, if you haven't listened to this record, go and buy this record. It's a complete masterpiece, and anytime I listen to any of the songs, this picture comes in mind. I like it very much. Also, look at the beautiful tear here. There's this makeup on his face. There's tear on his cheek. I just immediately think of the song "Tumbling Down," like he found a way to photograph the group and the essence of these songs. It's so good. The number 3. This one rocks, man. Iggy and the Stooges, raw power. I mean, look at this face. Look at the way he holds the microphone and he looks across the audience like he could eat them raw. Look at just this tiny little bit of pink glam leather pants. I mean, this is a punk rocker. This is a dangerous man. But there is a sense of sexual ambiguity in here. There is a sense of glam rock in this picture. But there is so much pride and power. If you listen to this record, it's a very powerful record. It just is. And the moment you start fantasizing about what could be the cover, I mean, this is also by far the best Iggy and the Stooges cover. It is a moment in time. This picture is a moment in time. Number 2, and this one speaks for itself. Lou Reed Transformer. It is, of course, again, this record is brilliant, just like actually all the records in this list. But Lou Reed was reinventing himself. He went to a poppy side. He wanted to appeal to a larger audience. David Bowie produced this record, and he was flirting with the glam movement. But there was always this raw edge. So how do you combine the glam movement, the bisexual nature of Lou Reed, with his raw heroin, the Velvet Underground song Heroin kind of persona? A black and white cover is a great idea, but how do you maintain the element of the makeup, and which is also so important for this record? It's not just a colorful glam rock record. It's a black and white glam record, and that's. I mean, this transition, it went on in Mick Rock's head, and he came with this design and also this picture. It's the drowsy, lovely gazing look by Lou Reed, in which you can still clearly see his makeup surrounding his eyes. There's a sense of being lost in this picture, but there's also this sense of dreaming. There is hope in it, but it's not just pure teenage hope. It is a much darker hope with a nice, glam, ambiguous edge to it. I mean, this is one of those covers which just keeps popping up in my mind when I listen or think about the work of Lou Reed. This is an icon. And then there is another iconic record. And this record is not just as a picture iconic, it's also iconic because it was the basis for one of the biggest and most important video clips ever. Queen 2. I mean, it's a gorgeous image. The idea for this picture came from Mick Rock and I believe Freddie Mercury somewhat together, because Freddie Mercury was interested in Marlene Dietrich, and there is a picture of Marlene Dietrich in which she does this, and then Mick Rock thought of the others surrounding it, and later, of course, this was the essence, the basic element for the Bohemian Rhapsody video, which was one of the biggest and first music videos ever, and this image was so striking. I mean, there is again a sense of sexual or gender ambiguity in there. But this immense pride and the way the light falls, I mean, the way their faces is being shaped by the high hanging light. This is the work of someone who can paint images with being a photographer and using rock artists and a moment in time. It is the most gorgeous, brilliant image, and these images, these covers, shaped the 70s. It's such a pity this man has died, but we can only be in awe of the awesome work of Mick Rock. Do you have other favorite album covers by Mick Rock? Please respond below, and I'll see you in the next video.